So welcome to my class, and in this we are continuing on with unit 2, in which we were talking about collection, organization and presentation of data, in which we finished with collection of data. So now that we've collected the raw data, the data when you collect it as it is known as raw data. Now you got to organize it. So we'll be doing all of that. Now in organization, okay, let me just talk a little about the raw data that we did. Now in raw data, what do you do? So how did we collect? Primary source, secondary source. In the primary sources, how did you go about collecting data? Remember? Go to my previous class and see how did we collect data. We went through primary investigation, personal investigation, indirect oral investigation, then also through correspondence. All that was primary data through questionnaires and schedules, and then we talked about the secondary data which is already published and sometimes even what is not published. So all of that we started, that is how we collected the data. All right, now in that when we did that, so what were the methods of, so then we talked about what is known as the census method and the sample method of collection. Census is when we are thinking of each and every one, each and every data, each and every unit is taken into consideration. That is census method. And the sample is when you take out a sample. So from the universe you take a few units, you study them, and based on that you draw a conclusion. So remember, in sampling there are various types of sampling. One is in this we talked about random and non-random sampling. Random sampling is that you just pick up each unit. Every unit in your universe has equal chance of being selected. That was random sampling. What is non-random? Non-random means each one will not have, because it will depend on certain other things. So in random sampling we had two methods, like lottery method, and what we can talk is, let me just also show you. You can look at this. So remember, so I think in the previous classes we've just done this. So random sampling, of course, we talked, that is a lottery method or use of random number tables. And then you have non-random sampling, where there is what is known as restricted random sampling, and what is the other one is, we can call it deliberative sampling. So deliberative sampling is there. So in the restricted random sampling we had the systematic sampling, we had stratified sampling, multi-stage sampling. You must look for these in the previous classes. Go through that, it's very interesting. And in the non-random sampling, this side, which is, as I said, I use the word what is known as deliberative sampling. That means you deliberately make a sample based on your judgment, that is judgment sampling. Quota sampling, you earmark how much percent of what category of people you want to take. And then convenience, it's up to you based on that. All right, so all of this we did, and this is how we collect what is known as a raw data. Now in organization of data, in this class I'm just letting you know what are we going to really study in organization of data. So we've collected the raw data, it is with us. Now we've got to organize, we've got to classify, and how do we go about it? I want you to see this also. Have a look. So once we have collected once we have the raw data in front of us, now it's time for us to organize the data. Can you see how we go about it? So this will be the scope of this particular concept of organization, in which we will understand what is organization of data, and we will also know what is classification, what are the objectives of classification, what are the qualities of a good classification, and we'll also talk about the methods of classification, as you see. So there are these 4 methods as we've written them. What are they? Chronological, that is based on time, temporal classification. Geographical, based on places, that classification of data. Sometimes it's qualitative, Qualitative means based on the attributes. It can be high, low, male, female, literate, illiterate, etc. And quantitative classification. So quantitative simply means in numbers. So all of this. Then we'll also talk about the variables and the attributes. Then we'll talk about what are the series. So what are the series? There'll be individual series, there'll be discrete series, and we'll talk about continuous series. So in this particular class, I've just introduced what is organization of data. In the next class, we'll start defining all of it.